Hello, everybody. Hope you've had an amazing weekend so far. Sorry. It is your boy Trix, and today we're going to be doing some more beta testing. Again, hope you've had an amazing weekend so far. Let's get right into the stream then. Let me just push this back a bit. There we go. Last time we just built the repo. I've also got it connected to my GitHub now, so if you want, it's public, you can check it out. The Django admin code is also there, but I'll change that later when I decide to deploy this to a website. Until then, it's going to probably stay in the repo, so I'm going to get security emails about that until the end of time probably. But yeah, it's now connected to a repo, so you can check it out if you want. Let me just see into, I think if I go, should just take me there. Anyway, sorry that this is an early stream for me. What I might do, might as well just do this a bit earlier than yesterday, just so I can get some stuff done later on in the day. I've been preparing for like different exams and stuff, so I want to do the AWS certification, and there's a lot of stuff you need to cover. I'm trying to do the solutions architect associate first, and I have been like going through Adrian Cantrell's course, and I've been doing some flashcards that I found on Anki, and there's just a lot of content that you need to get through. I've been doing it on and off while I've been doing some other courses as well. So I done Hazel Class, which is really easy. Mongo, really easy. There was another one I did. Hazel Class, Mongo. There was, what was the other one? I'm doing ScyllaDB's one as well, which is really cool. I wanted to do Redis, but they had like a time limit on theirs, and considering how long the AWS one is taking me, I don't think I'll be able to do Redis's one, where they need you to like do homework every week and make sure you complete a certain amount of hours and stuff. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that while working, especially when like on support. Sometimes I'm doing like a whole day or like a whole week of like barely any sleep, having to monitor production and stuff. So I was like, yeah, probably not going to do Redis's one, but the other ones I can like fit in here and there after work. Just I can do like an hour or two. But Redis, you need to dedicate a lot of time. I do recommend Redis's one if you've never done a key value store, just because it does use a key value store. But if you want to do one that's more high performance, I'd say just do ScyllaDB or do Hazel Class one, because they're a lot easier to get through and the content is kind of similar. I think Redis's one is a lot better if you want to use it immediately, whereas the Hazel Class one, you need to, unless you've never if you've never touched Hazel Class before, it's basically useless. I think Hazel Class one's only decent if you've touched Hazel Class before, you know how to mess with it, you know how to do everything already, and then you're just using it so that you can say, hey, I've used it before, here's a certification that just says I've used it. With Redis, it's more like hands-on, which is better, but I just don't have the time for it. But yeah, I do recommend doing it. If you guys have any certifications that you can recommend me, I'll gladly do them, as long as they're relatively not as pricey. So for example, I did the MongoDB track for Java, where you can do a certification at the end, but the certification costs 150 quid. I could take it, but I don't use MongoDB at work, and for the things that I want to go into, I don't really need to use MongoDB. Same with like I was doing Terraform a while back, and I completed their walkthrough of Terraform, but I just haven't done their certification because Terraform is more useful. The certification for Terraform is more useful if you want to go into DevOps, because I want to just do normal development. Getting like an AWS certification would make sense, but doing a DevOps certification wouldn't. It still is good to have the knowledge, so I'll gladly do the course. Just getting the certification, not entirely sure. So if you guys have any recommendations for courses I can do, I'll gladly do them. Just for certifications, I'd rather it be more focused on performance or high performance, low latency or stuff, or things that in that genre, right? So performance optimization genre. That's why like I don't mind doing the Java one if there is one for Java 21 or Java 17. Just the stuff I found so far have only been for like enterprise Java, so Java 8 and Java 11. I haven't seen one for Java 17 or Java 21 yet. But again, any recommendations would be helpful. Just something to fill up my time. So we're going to do, as always, eat didn't do this before, but we should really be using pull requests to do this. There we go. That's what I wanted. For instance, let's say, for example, you write a web server. Just to reiterate what this is kind of saying, let's say, for example, you write a web server and you want to test it. Your unit tests, your small tests, will be testing units of that code, right? So let's say, for example, you're testing public methods, public things that can be accessible from like an API standpoint, not an API like normal web development, an API for like a developer who's trying to implement your code, right? So you'll write tests to simulate different scenarios that someone could hit while building out functionality on top of your code, right? So that's what a unit test should be like. Just testing small units of code that someone who does try to use this in the future could see, oh, this should fail if this happens, this should pass if this happens, stuff like that. Functional tests are what my team call integration tests, are tests where you're doing end-to-end tests, where let's say, for example, you're testing an endpoint on your API, you'll be testing the whole process of a request is made, it's consumed by your server, business logic is applied, and then a response is returned, right? So you will be turning on things, right? You'll be setting up things, but you won't be saying, oh, I'm going to test this individual block. I'll be testing end-to-end functionality when this endpoint is called or when this thing happens on my server. That's kind of like what an end-to-end test is, what an integration test is, and what a functional test is. They're basically the same. So you could think of a unit test as testing a unit of code, whereas a integration test, functional acceptance end-to-end test, is testing a scenario. That's why, like, most of the time you'll hear acceptance testing or business case testing, where you're testing what would happen when a user does something, a normal user, not a developer, what would happen when a user does something, and what would the response be? What would happen when a user does this? Whoops, I need to open up Helix. Always do that. functional. Whoops. There we go. I don't recommend this style of test of comments, but we move. I'm just going to say what I don't like about this test so far, and it's mainly the comments. So in the in Java, when I use JUnit, what I do is I use arrange act assert. So your test name would be the thing you're testing. You'll have your arrange, which is setting up the browser, right? Then you'll have your act, which is your browser.get HTTP localhost colon 8000. Then your assert would be just your assert to do in browser title. And then if you wanted to, you could use a after each, right? And then browser.quit. And then if you wanted to, you could also have a before each where you set up your browser and you make your browser a global variable that's accessed everywhere. And then your test name just specifies this. So this would be should insert 2 elements into to-do list and quit browser, something like that, because now someone needs to follow this whole flow to understand what's actually happening and read all of these comments, which I don't think is very useful, but I can understand why it's done. But I don't feel like you should need to write a narrative to understand why a test exists. I feel like you should just have a name for a test that is the narrative, right? So you don't have to say all of this. You can just say, should insert 2 items into to-do list, then quit. Or should update page state when 2 items are inserted into to-do list. Or if you wanted to, should update state each time an item is inserted into the to-do list. Yes, it's a long name, but who cares? It's just a test name, and it quantifies everything that's happening here. Yeah, this is useless. This is useless. I know it's doing this. What's it doing it for? There are 2 camps of mind that I go through whenever I write a comment. First I'm like, okay, is this code readable? Where if I don't think it's readable on first pass through, rewrite it. I don't follow the whole clean code thing. I much prefer A Philosophy of Software Design by John Osterman. I think it's John Osterman or John Osterhaus. Hang on. A Philosophy of Software Design. First one that comes up. John Osterhaus. There we go. I much prefer that book over clean code, where when it comes to writing code, just make sure you can follow it through and you understand all the context there. If you don't understand all of the context there, or you lose context, then it's fine to start breaking up code. I think in clean code they say something like your method should only be about 5 to 10 lines long. Why? Why is that a thing? You don't need to have 5 to 10 line methods. I think a method should not be longer than a page. Like a respectable page. Let's say, for example, this is, I don't know, 50 lines on the page, right? Let's say 50 lines, give or take. If a method is longer than this, I think you should break it up. Because if you need to scroll on a method, you're going to eventually lose context. If you can just render your whole method on one screen, I don't think you need to worry, right? Because you can see all of the context. That being said, if you want to refactor something because you need to add comments, like let's say for example you have a really funky for loop, while loop, iteration or something. Let's say it's doing some weird logic in there that you have breaks and stuff. You can add comments, right? But then you're making sure that if someone changes this in the future, they need to understand what this is doing, and these comments need to explain, this is what this method is doing, this is what this is doing. Just make that into a separate function, and on your function definition, add a dot comment that just says what this method is doing. That's a lot better than just having comments littered throughout the code on each line, where if someone does change it, well, now you're screwed, because they need to make sure that they understand your code that you're changing, and they need to make sure that they move your comments that you've made into the right place later on. If you just add it as a dot comment on the method by extracting it out, well, at least now you know it's on the dot comment, regardless of how this method will change in the future. It should always do the exact same thing. If someone refactors it, it should do something similar. So you just have a generic explanation of what this code does and what it's supposed to do, and you test it, you're good. You know what? Yeah. You You know what, yeah? I didn't realize that they were going to talk about it, but I greatly appreciate that they talk about it here. Philosophy of Software Design is an amazing book. I highly recommend lots of people read it. One second, I'm just going to get a big light and close my curtains. Philosophy of Software Design is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it, and I think every developer should read it once in their life. I don't think it gets enough love that Clean Code gets, because Clean Code is written by the same guy who does continuous delivery, I believe. Is it the same guy? Clean Code is written by Robert C. Martin, and continuous delivery, I follow his YouTube channel, so hang on. Continuous delivery in my subscriptions is, and then I'm just going to turn this down. Dave Farley. Is that Dave Farley? No. No, I know Dave Farley's written a book. I don't remember which one it is. Dave Farley wrote Modern Software Engineering. There we go. And he wrote Continuous Delivery. Sorry about that, it took me a while. But I know Clean Code gets a lot more love than a Philosophy of Software Design, and I really believe lots of people should read it. Yes, I know this will fail. Ooh, I've never used a unit test library. In Python, I mean. In Java, you can use JUnit. I haven't done that much Python to use JUnit. So this is import unit test. Then WebDriver. Oh, thank God I have LSP. Class. No, I don't want class method, I just want class. Who is the whoops, test. Unit test dot test. Let's see what it does. Do I have LSP? Yes, I do. Struggling though. Oof. And this is what I like. You got a setup and you got a tear down. Literally the thing I talked about earlier. 100% I did not know it would be like this. So now I don't need this. There we go. Then beautiful. Def test and start a to-do list stuff. Amazing. 0 b put g yank print. Oh god. V 18k, and then I need to, oh god, hang on, it's V 22k, delete that, VG, and then to shift this way. There we go. Then this changes to self, and this changes to itself. There we go. Oh, you have a different assert now. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I can do Oh, it's probably going to be quicker if I rewrite it. It's set in. Cool. Then you've got a member container and then message. So the member would be. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so you've got a to do, and then you've got a container which is self-your browser and then title. There we go. Then the default Python runner. There we go. Cool. Yeah, makes sense. No new line at the end of the file. Of course, it's going to complain. Oh god. 0 UW. There we go. What is it? Why is it complaining about a line? Expected 2 blank lines after the class definition. Oh, it's complaining about white space, isn't it? Yeah. And then what's it complaining about on this line? Expected 2 blank lines found one. There we go. A bit pedantic, isn't it? But we move. Yeah. Oh, so I'm assuming that's how Python does annotation. I don't know why it doesn't just use an annotation. Does Python not have annotations? Python text annotations? Because Java in JUnit, you can add a at before each and then rename your class to anything you want. I mean that method to anything you want. Unit test frameworks. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a bit shit, isn't it? So you have to make sure that you're case sensitive for your methods and that you do snake case for your test names. I don't like that at all. You did have annotations. But it's to skip? Oh, man. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is a before all, after all. The asserts are basically just like JUnit, so that's fine. Oh, you can do... Okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Then you got your teardown. Then you got your test response. Then you've got your teardown. Then your async teardown. Oh, your async teardown runs before your normal teardown. Interesting. I'm assuming that's because because your setup is happening before everything starts up. Your setup needs to run first, and anything that's asynchronous will then run. So you got your asynchronous setup, then you will test your response. Then because you have an asynchronous teardown, that will run before your normal teardown, and then your cleanup will just be cleaning up anything that could have affected the file system. You can do test suite similar to Java, so that's fine. That sucks that you can't do a um custom setup method unit Python. Oh man, that's annoying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just read the configuration. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's default Python. Cool. So if I do I need to activate the virtual env, don't I? Then I need to do. Oh, I've forgotten what it is. There we go. There we are. Then I need to do a. And then. Which one's it pointing to? Ah, damn it. Then I need to run. Ooh, is it lowercase f? Yes, it is. It's chugging. Oh man. Oh, I'm cheap, so no thank you. Cool. Annoying that he didn't say put it on a separate branch. Actually, I don't know if I got that hook. Yeah. There we go. Now if I go to compare and pull request. So now if I go to here, does it as a single commit. 1 second, I'm just gonna edit my rules for that just so I can do that a bit quicker. 1 sec. Be right back. And we are back. Just updated that. So now I have auto merge and some other nice stuff to work on that branch. Obviously, if you make a pull request to this, I am probably going to review it first. So I will add a thing that I can like force merge my own stuff. But that's besides the point. Oh, testing a simple homepage with unit tests. We've only been going for 40 minutes, so that should be fine. Ooh, there's a Learn Python the Hard Way. I don't know if I read this book. Oh man, he doesn't have a Java one. Ah, damn. There we go. Mm-hmm. This is what I should explain earlier, that you got your integration tests or functional tests or acceptance tests, end-to-end tests, which are like what a user would do. Then your unit tests are how would a programmer do this. So let me run here next. And then I believe it's open list slash test.py. Cool. Cool beans. So should fail. Yep, there we go. Just show you the change files, that's fine. Yeah. You don't want to accidentally commit a file that you had no intention of committing. Ooh, that's funky. Do I have that in Superlist as well? Yeah, I do. Init.py. And then I got on migrations? Seriously? Interesting. This is a long one too. Sorry, I kissed my teeth. I hate how so cute it is, man. Sorry, I'm getting Java and Python confused. I know Python does support Java syntax though. Some of Java syntax. Yeah, so that should fail. There we go. It will fail because the initial Django page that's made doesn't contain that at all. Oh, it's also because homepage doesn't exist. Okay. Use. I'm still not sold on TDD yet, which should fail. Yeah, because it needs taking a request. Oh yeah, I forgot. Python doesn't have types. It doesn't. You can't. You don't specify types in Python. Oh god. Oh, there we go. I'm just gonna skip to the end because I know how this would look. Yeah. I don't use AM just because I want it to open in Vim, in NeoVim, so I can see the list of changes. I already know it's not going to work because we literally just looked at it like a couple minutes ago. Yeah, that's going to fail. Yep. I'm just going to do this chapter until we. I'm going to stream until we finish this chapter. Just because there isn't that much left of this chapter anyway. There we go. There we are. There we go. Well, yeah, we know it's gonna pass. So if I do a and then I spawn a new terminal, I cd into codebook. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Then I do there we go. Let that run. Then I do python function test.py. It's going to spawn a window. It's going to open the window to the website, close the browser, and then should pass. Well, should assert fail that the finished test has failed. So it opens the window, then it should navigate to it. There we go. Then it should see to-do list. There we are. And then assert failed because finished test. Cool. There we go. So if I go to here, I go to pull requests. I need to compare and pull. Then create pull request. There we are. Just letting it load. Then, if everything goes well, yep, cool. The default's to squash and merge. Confirm squash and merge. Then it should delete the head. Nice. Then if I go to code, there we are. Then I just need to check out main and then pull. And that's my Git workflow for now. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, enjoy the rest of your week, and peace.